Hi, everybody. It's great to be here with my fellow Rainbow Warriors and Shamans of the Soul, because I know we're all connected and we're going to rock it, okay? And I've got some video clips that's going to turn you guys on. You know, I use my camera to kind of travel through time and space, and I've used it for my own life as a kind of a voyage of self-discovery. I love to look at things that are either too slow, too fast, too small, or too vast for the human eye to see. And what it does is it connects me deeply with those universal rhythms and patterns that are part of the universe. I mean, look at this thing. I look at it and I feel like I'm either a spaceship, a bee, a bat, a hummingbird, butterfly. I want to land on it. I want to make love to it. It's the sexual organ of the plant. And it's all about moving DNA forward. And it totally turns me on. You know, when I was 6 years old, I grew up in New York and I left when I was 6, but my parents were Holocaust survivors. They never really turned me on to nature. You know, they didn't experience it, I didn't experience, like going outdoors, camping, playing baseball. But they were loving parents and they taught me a lot about gratitude and appreciation. You know, things like food on the table, a roof over your head, that to them was really heaven on earth. So when I went to UCLA, I found my voice. I fell in love with filmmaking and photography. I was a poli-sci history major, and you know, while the cops were sweeping campus, you know, beating people on the head who were like protesting the anti-war movement, I figured I couldn't be studying, you know, the French Revolution. So I grabbed my camera, started to document those events, especially police brutality against women. And it was certainly a lot easier than doing term papers. So I started shooting film, but I wanted to shoot high quality film, and I really couldn't afford it. So I fell in love with shooting time lapse. I took this old Mitchell camera, it weighed about 50 pounds, built in the 30s, retrofitted it to take still camera lenses, found an old animation motor that ran on AC power with a long extension cord, went up to the roof, and I started to shoot clouds and flowers. And I haven't stopped because I've had a camera running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for over 30 years, shooting time-lapse flowers. They turn me on, they fill my sense of wonder, and now that I can afford to shoot film, I'm still doing it because, again, it connects with my soul. I'm never gonna get tired of watching these flowers move to the light. Kate Hess, who was Flower Away, she gave me a bottle of elixir. I think it's a night blooming cactus supposed to make me, you know, fearless. And so I took a whole bunch before I came up here. And it's kind of helping to settle the butterflies in my stomach to fly in formation. But I want to turn you on to some elixir for your eyes. So here's a clip from Flowers. Well, thank you. Thank you. So what did I learn from shooting flowers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for over 30 years? I learned something really important that I want to share with you, and that is that beauty is nature's tool for survival because you'll protect what you fall in love with. That's why kittens are cute and puppies are cute and all babies are cute. If they weren't cute, you'd probably toss them out with the bathwater, right? So when I learned about colony collapse disorder, the disappearance of the bees, which I know all of you are very aware of, I figured you can't tell the story about the bees without telling the story about flowers and how they co-evolved over 135 million years together. I mean, it's an amazing story. I call it a love story that feeds the earth. Because 150 million years ago, the earth was a really drab place. It was just green, there were just cold-blooded creatures, dinosaurs, and then a great asteroid apparently hit the planet. And for decades, there was no light and there was no heat. Dinosaurs became extinct. But then the most amazing biological event occurred on the planet, the invention of the flower. And with the invention of the flower, the plant figured out how to put its DNA into a little packet. We call it a seed, a berry, a nut, a fruit. And then because of that, mammals emerged. And because of that, I mean, we're here, Warm-blooded creatures were able to take this concentrated energy of protein and be able to generate heat on their own. So this is one of the most amazing stories that's ever happened on our planet. And here we're at a point where, unfortunately, the whole thing could unravel. I mean, the causes of colony collapse disorder are obviously pesticide, GMOs, a demand for more food from a growing population, stress. These bees are trucked 50,000 miles a year on a flatbed truck from one monoculture to another monoculture, living on one diet. So we're really at a tipping point, and I think we have to be really careful and conscious of the choices we make, especially in our future. And all of you guys are leaders. I know you all understand it. So let me share with you what I consider to be some incredible images of the film I recently did for Disney Nature that Meryl Streep does a voiceover. And she does it from the point of view of a flower, which is really cool. Because so many of the nature films, they focus on predator versus prey. And I think that's the wrong story. The story in nature is about cooperation. It's about relationships. It's more the feminine point of view, to be quite honest. I think that the sequence you're about to see is truly the foundation of life, because this is the intersection of where the animal world and plant world intersect. It's where they get it on. Billions of times a day, as I'm speaking right now, DNA is moving forward. Life is being recreated. And without this intersection, the foundation of life, life on this planet will be radically different. Go ahead and show the clip. Thank you. Thank you. So I do want to say that there are solutions. I turned my front lawn into a vegetable garden. There's so many things you can do. You can have a garden on your rooftop, do community gardens, support your local organic farmer, your local organic beekeeper, teach your kids how to grow food, don't use pesticides, don't buy food that's been shipped from a foreign land or from a distant location that's got pesticides on it, and look at the carbon footprint when you can grow a tomato on your back porch. Anyways, it's wonderful that there are things we can do. So if I believe that pollination is like the foundation of life on our planet, I kind of thought, well, what's a bigger idea than that? And actually, what do plants need in order to survive? Because plants are the primary source for converting solar energy into food and fuel and shelter for us to live. Well, what plants need besides sunlight is soil. And what creates soil? Well, it's something that's actually underneath your feet. It's the largest organism on the planet. It can heal you, it can feed you, it can clean up an oil spill, it can shift your consciousness. We're talking about mushrooms and mycelium. And I'm working on the film right now called Fantastic Fungi. And let me share a clip of that with you.
Mushroom mycelium represents rebirth, rejuvenation, regeneration. Fungi generate soil that gives life. The task that we face today is to understand the language of nature. My mission is to discover the language of nature of the fungal networks that communicate with the ecosystem. And I believe nature is intelligent. The fact that we lack the language skills to communicate with nature does not impugn the concept that nature is intelligent. It speaks to our inadequacy for communication. If we don't get our act together and come in commonality and understanding with the organisms that sustain us today, not only will we destroy those organisms, but we will destroy ourselves. We need to have a paradigm shift in our consciousness. What will it take to achieve that? If I die trying, but I'm inadequate to the task to make a course change in the evolution of life on this planet, okay, I tried. The fact is, I tried. How many people are not trying? If you knew that every breath you took could save hundreds of lives into the future, had you walked down this path of knowledge, wouldn't you run down that path of knowledge as fast as you could? I believe nature is a force of good. Good is not only a concept, it is a spirit. And so hopefully the spirit of goodness will survive.
Thank you. So I think Paul Stamets was here last year, right? As a speaker, or 2 years ago? Yes? Right. What I love about Paul and the work he's doing is the fact that, besides the incredible research he's doing with mushrooms, I mean, they found out, for example, turkey tail is a powerful ingredient for helping treat breast cancer, lion's tail mushroom with Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And even psychoactive mushrooms are being used now with veterans with post-traumatic stress syndrome, terminally ill cancer patients. It's just an amazing, field that he's investigating. But also, he's a social entrepreneur. I mean, he created his own company, his own cottage business, Fantastic Fungi, I think it's called, no, Fungi Perfecti. And in order for him to do that research, he had to kind of be independent. He couldn't do it inside the confine of a university or a corporate structure because they wouldn't let him explore that territory. And I know a lot of you are social entrepreneurs, and I think you'll appreciate, in the sense, the fact that you've got to be a pioneer, and there's always going to be obstacles. You know, when I graduated from UCLA, I lived up north for a couple of years. I shot all this beautiful imagery of nature. I got a chance to work on The Secret Life of Plants. So I I traveled from Elk in Northern California, population 250, to Calcutta, 25 million people. It was the first time I'd ever been out of the country. I was only like 24 years old. And then after I did that, I figured it wasn't so hectic to live in LA. But when I came to LA, I showed, you know, distributors and networks my imagery, and they go, oh wow, it's beautiful, but what do you do with it? I mean, like, where's the conflict? Where's the drama, you know? Where's the fear and anxiety? So the ad agencies, I showed it to them, they got it. And without a business plan, you know, I created the first contemporary stock library. It ended up growing into 120 employees, representing other filmmakers in 12 foreign offices. In 1997, Getty Images bought my company as the cornerstone of their motion image licensing business. So if I said I was going to do that when I was living up in Elk, probably people would have said, what are you smoking, you know? But a lot of you I know are pioneering and doing the exact same thing, you know? And in nature, it's a similar story. There's always competition for limited resources. But somehow you persevere, and with determination, and because you've got the universe behind you, I think you're all going to achieve your goals. I want to show you a couple of clips of people just like you and the stories they have to share. Make sure the volume's up.
I was a short order cook. I got fired from that. I was a baker's helper. Got fired from that. Jerry and I, we were failing at most everything else we were trying, and we decided to go into business, and the only thing we liked doing was eating. I think we got possibilities here. I like this combination. You have a great business when the goal of the business is to meet the need, is to create the product, not to make money. You make money as a byproduct of meeting a need and doing a great job of it. What, am I still dripping? There we go. You know, I'm a professional, I'm an executive, you know, it's important to keep your image up.
A handmade hat is much better than a mass-produced hat because, you know, it's like maintaining art. I think hats are just my way of speaking to the world.
Anything will hold you up off the floor. But a really good chair, it feels good to look at, it feels good to sit in, and it feels good to be a part of something that you believe in. For me, that's worth a lot more than the pay I get.
Every once in a while you get this time in your life that's sealed, signed, and delivered, and it'll be there forever. And one of those times for me was when I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade. And I asked my mom for money, and she had no money. And that broke my heart, and I never asked her again. And I went to work. And that's how I got to where I am today. I started working, and I never stopped. I love growing grapes. I'm pretty good at it, and I'm getting better every year. It's a matter of frustration. It's a matter of patience. You can't learn how to grow grapes in 25 or 30 years. I think it takes a lifetime. Every year, the whole thing starts over again, and we're powerless to create spring or summer or fall. And that's pretty amazing. So maybe that's what living out in the country and living on a ranch like this does to a guy. It just puts you in the middle of God's glory. One of the first miracles, if you believe in God, is where Jesus was at a wedding, and he turned the water into wine, and that to me is pretty neat. Why was that his first choice? And it's because he liked to drink, just like me.
Yeah, that's very good.
I think finding your passion in life is important, and I'm lucky enough to have found that. I started out just drinking a lot of beer and chasing women, you know. I don't think you have a plan for it. I think it just happens. And I think for me, I believe it's in the vineyard. That's what got me started, and that's where I'd like to end up. I want to die in a vineyard working the grapes. That's my retirement plan.
Thank you. So I've always believed that visual images can heal you. And, you know, in order to kind of communicate that, I really can't go to distributors or cable companies because they're telling that old-fashioned story. I'm sure you know it. How many people here watch very much TV? Probably not very many, right? Maybe TiVo 4 or 5 channels. So rather than, you know, complain about that, you know, it's like Gandhi says, be the change. So I've created my own channel, and just a couple of weeks ago, I launched Moving Art. It's on every Panasonic smart TV, and it's going to go on other smart TVs, as well as on the iPhone for iOS and Android. And basically, it's kind of like a visual Pandora. You'll be able to kind of look at categories like culture, nature, inspiration, tune into the vibration you want, have it remember your preferences, and be able to bring that into your home. Because I think it'll definitely, and I do believe it'll reduce stress, lower your heart rate, inspire you, and heal you. So if you get a chance, go to movingart.com. You can download it for free right now. I'd love to get your feedback. And I'm going to show you a little teaser trailer of what we recently showed at the Consumer Electronics Show.
Like waves to the shore, part of the ocean, a water so blue, wish I could live there, wish you were, wish you were. Wish you were real.
Thank you. So Hey, be the change. I know we're all moving forward in the same direction. I love you and thank you for the opportunity to share with you. I really appreciate it.